Good morning. I'm going to do a watercolour this morning, and I'm going to do a vase and some flowers. I don't normally always paint, I always draw first, but if I do want to do an outline, I used all different colour watercolour pencils. So once my paper's wet, that all absorbs into it, so you don't really see. So basically, I'm just going to do a vase, unusual sort of shaped flowers, but I am just going to do like a straightish vase. You can actually use a ruler, but I don't like to. I like mine to be a very soft picture. So basically, I can actually see, all I've done is just like a, don't know, you can just about see that there. Just like a squarish sort of shape, a bit scruffy, but to show the actual shape of the base. This one's going to be sort of like a thickish vase, but of course I don't really, none of that's going to be showing because it's all going to be painted on. So what I would always do to start off with would be my large brush, and then I'll decide on what type of colouring I'm going to have for the background. You don't want it to be taken away from what plants or what flowers you're going to have in there. But I'm going to just do like a wet wash on the back of a little bit of bluey colours, which gives a nice little backdrop for my vase. I'm only doing a little bit of painting now, just because I'm waiting for the gas ball to come, because my heating has gone a bit weird today. So what I should do is put like a little bit of a catch your eye. I could actually have the vase on perhaps a table. So if I use a little bit of the browny colour, only very, very light wash, just because I can just put, as you can see, really, really wishy-washy, because this isn't really for colour. This is just to separate the picture from the actual outer lines. So I'm thinking the possibility it will be on a table. So I'll do a darkish colour just to give it the idea of a tabletop there. But of course, once we get ourselves motivated and have made a start, all these colours can be added to or taken away by a darker colour put on there. But I'm just thinking that's possibly what I would have on there, and a little bit more water. Okay. So now what we would do is we would decide on what sort of colour we'd be having in our vase. Of course, again, as you can see, like the wet on here, just giving a slight effect of the vase. There's always water in the vase, and there's always normally green foliage, isn't there? So I will just put like a little bit of green just coming out from the vase, and a few little bits inside the vase on a little bit of green paint. On my little palettes here, I've got quite a few different colours, so I'll mix up, just put a few little bits of colours of different colour greens. So some will be light, some will be dark. So I can just do it a bit more wishy-washy. So that's 3 bits of the colour on there. So I will just put some very, very light bits and pieces in the bottom of the vase, because that will be like it should be, because you don't want it all to be seen. But of course I'm going to just put a few tall bits in the back of the vase, because I don't know what flowers I'm going to use yet. But of course I know there's going to be greens of some sort in there. But right, so a bit wishy-washy, just a few little bits of green on there. So what I'm going to do now is sort of think to myself, what flowers shall I have? Shall I go for poppies and sweet peas? I can do anything at all in this vase. So I'll start off with some pretty, I think I'm going to have sort of like a type of rose type flower. So I'm going to now mix up 2 different colour pinks, like a deep pinky colour here. And I'm going to put a bit of this sort of other colour pink on a different one. And yeah, because I'm definitely going to have colours of flowers of that type of colour in here. So I think what I shall do is I shall go into a little gap I've got on my paper and just sort of make some little wet little bits with my paintbrush, bearing in mind this is just like what I class as my undercoat, because I can make them look more flower-like, but I just want to give the size on here, and then I'll, like I do on the wet colours, I will make it neater, I should say. Okay, so that's just giving you an idea of like a pinky section on there. Right, I think I'd possibly have in a vase more than one of the same sort of flower, so I shall do this very similar round on the other corner. And to me this is very therapeutic, because it's just like touching lightly on the page, because we don't really need it to be. But of course I have to darken it because I've gone over onto my green, on some of my green, which is fine. So hopefully you can have a little look on that. See the very pastel sort of colours, but of course we're going to make it much brighter on the finished effect. Okay, so I think what I need now is something, you know, something like a tall stemmed article. You can actually get flowers when you've got all like the little bluey sort of, like not necessarily my wisteria, but little plants which have got little tiny blue little flowers. So I'm going to just, you know, just put a few little, like a bit like a delphinium, because you'd have that in a vase, you could get away with that. So again, I've got very sort of like wet dark blue on here, and I want it to be lighter on the tip and darker on the bottom, because the tip part will probably not last very long and the bottom part hasn't opened quite yet. So that's one little line there of the flower, and then I think there will possibly be a bigger one higher up, so I shall do like a little pattern of one further up. And again, hopefully you've got your watercolour paper with you there, and you're just having a little bit, or these could even be like little tall bits of lavender, because you don't have to make it look like real flowers. This is just sort of therapeutic, just doing your little lines, just seeing what you can produce, just something different. You know, it's Monday morning, you've probably done your housework already if you've been good, and then you're just having a little bit of relaxation. Okay, there we show you the next little bit. See how it's coming on, the building of the painting. We're building it right up. So what other plants can we have? What other ones? I mean, you could, if it's a spring flowers, you could have yellow. There might be like a daisy, there might be fuchsias or something like freesias and little yellowy flowers. So what I shall do now is I shall mix up some nice yellow, because I want to put a little bit of spring flowers into the picture. And you probably notice I'm doing it quite soft, because I want to be finishing off with some brighter colours at the end, just especially my leaves and things like that. And you notice I'm not going mad on my vase at the moment, because I don't need to do that yet. Right, so I'm going to do sort of what I would class like one of my wet sort of flowers again on here, because I don't want to make it too particular. I'm just doing sort of like a 4-petal bit of a yellowy sort of colour, because I think we would possibly have quite a few little different colourings in this vase. You wouldn't just have all the pinks and blues. If you've had a nice bouquet of flowers bought for you, you've got quite a few different flowers in there, haven't you? And you know, it'll be like a little bit of a wet look on the bottom here. And I'm enjoying just putting a little bit more colour in that. Okay, so now you can see a few little yellowy bits in there. But What I need to do now is put a bit more of the greenery, because I don't know how many red flowers and whatever colours if I haven't got all my greens in, because the leafy part is very, very important, because when we all display our flowers in a vase, we like to have a little bit of green round, don't we? You know. So I'm now putting some little leaf attachmenty bits in, but I don't, like, again, I want it wet. I don't want it to be too neat, but I want to have some nice little bits to follow on from the picture. And then I can actually put, if there's like a little leaf sections, that can bring alive these flowers, because of, again, you do get quite a few leaves in a vase, and some of them do come over. So I will just wet the top part so you can see its basic principle of just getting the colours to start off with, and hopefully you can see just bringing colour into the picture, a little bit of green. But I should be putting some little soft little green just in the background, so that when I do start putting the colours in, or like the bit more of the flowers, I know that there has been like a really nice tall leaf just sticking out the top to bring my picture in, and there'll probably be another big one up the top there, because if I'm doing my flowers, I would definitely put leaves in to, you know, make that on there. Right, so hopefully that's now looking like a spring vase. Like, it's got the blues, it's got yellows, it's got pinks in it. So now I'm going to concentrate on the actual vase. I'm going to turn off this at the moment, because I'm just going to pop out and get myself some clean water. And when I come back, I'm going to concentrate on getting the bottom of the base of the vase, because I can finish off all the flowers afterwards. Thanks for watching. Remember, it's Sally, like, dislike, or make a comment if you're enjoying this, and I can actually do some painting with you.